Hello, welcome to gusmcdoll Strategy and Tactics, and thank you to our subscribers. In this series, we play through the 16 operations of the German Grand Campaign in Close Combat 3, the Russian Front. Please remember to subscribe, comment, share, and like the video. And if you want to show your support with a donation, the links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. It is day 1 of 8 on Operation 7 of 16. German Last Stand at Stalingrad, November 3, 1942. You can expect the Bolshevists to try and regain control of the Barricades Factory. You'll be commanding remnants of the 389th Infantry Division. There are no reinforcements, but you'll be given all the supplies that can be spared. Intelligence reports the Soviet 8th Guards Rifle Division is ferrying across the Volga in preparation for the attack. Turn the factory into a fortress and make the Bolshevists bleed for every inch of ground they try to take. We've come too far to lose this battle now. You must hold your ground or die trying. Last Stand at Stalingrad, the fight for Stalin's city. You've now got to hold on to the gains you've made. Your objective is to withstand the Bolshevist counterattack that is sure to come. Intelligence expects the enemy to gain strength, but if you wear them down in the first few days, perhaps you can equalise the odds. Your command is attached to the 389th Infantry Division. You'll need some kind of anti-tank firepower since observers have sighted enemy armour, reportedly the hated T-34. Find ways to take out the enemy's armour and you can gain the upper hand. You control the factory building in the centre of the sector, which provides clear fields of fire to the north, east and south. The multi-storey buildings east of the factory, one northeast and one southeast, can hit the factory. Try knocking out any support teams using them. Your infantry will have to employ close-quarter tactics. The enemy will be relentless. Show courage and the will to win. We start the operation with the same forces from the last battle. Von McDowell, Command Panzer 4F2. Group Leader, Kommando Behörden, 1942. Heavy Infantry, Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier, 1942. Heavy Infantry, Sturmgrenadier, 1942. Another squad of Heavy Infantry, Sturmgrenadier, 1942. Machine Gun Infantry, Maschinengewehr 42. A second squad of Machine Gun Infantry, Maschinengewehr 42. Medium Tank, Panzer 4F2. Medium Tank, Panzer 4D. Heavy Anti-Tank Gun, 8.8cm Flak 36. Another Heavy Anti-Tank Gun, 8.8cm Flak 36. Anti-Tank Carrier, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251x10. A second Sonderkraftfahrzeug with a 3.7cm Panzerabwehrkanone. And a medium mortar 8cm Granatwerfer. No vacant slots, 50 requisition points remaining, and no refits necessary. That is Kampfgruppe McDowell. Let's examine the terrain and develop a plan. This battlefield will be familiar from the last episode. We are now tasked with defending the gun carriage shop against an expected Soviet counterattack. The factory is surrounded by a large wall, outside of which are the outskirts of the city of Stalingrad. Once again, I have marked 4 areas. Number 1, the crossroads north of the factory. The crossroads link the east-west road and the north-south road outside the factory. Control of these roads enables the Germans to isolate the factory complex from reinforcement and cut off retreating forces. Number 2, the machine shop. This area provides cover and concealment to German forces in the western part of the factory complex. The northeast corner contains some barrels of petroleum to be avoided, as they are liable to burn rapidly and deflagrate if hit by bullets or shell fragments. Otherwise, the area surrounding the machine shop is open ground without cover or concealment. Crossing this ground would be dangerous. Number 3, the gun carriage shop and the assembly hall. We now know that the internal layout of this facility is large enough to allow vehicle movement, yet provide ample opportunities for infantry ambush. Access into the shop is by a large gate to the northwest, a damaged section of the wall to the southwest, and the factory gate to the east. There is also a damaged section of outer wall to the southeast. Number 4. The outskirts of Stalingrad. This suburb mostly consists of 1- and 2-story residential buildings, including concrete 2-story workers' apartments immediately outside the factory, the wooden 2-story workers' settlement further out, and a large walled storage shed to the southeast. The area has already suffered extensive damage, and many of the buildings are in ruins. A ravine runs north-south through the suburb, with a single crossing point along the road. Key terrain includes the machine shop as a staging area for the Germans, and the northern crossroads, which enables isolation of the factory from the outskirts of Stalingrad. Decisive terrain remains the gun carriage shop. The Germans have it, and the Soviets want it back. Avenues of approach to the gun carriage shop are through the main entrance to the east, or through the breach in the wall to the southeast. The Soviets have limited options for retaking the factory. They are likely to use their tanks to break through the German encirclement in the roads outside. Then they will attack with their infantry through the main entrance. This attack may be supported by tanks moving through the breaches in the walls to attack the German infantry from the rear. The first option for the Germans is to defend in depth. The tanks and anti-tank guns would form a strong support by fire position at the crossroads to the north, preventing the Russians from encircling the factory. The Germans would yield the gun factory itself to the Russians, but then catch them in the open as they advanced towards the machine shop. Machine guns and mortar rounds would stop the Russian advance, and then the Sturmgrenadier would counterattack with support from the half-tracks. The advantage of this option is that it would engage Russians in the open from prepared defensive positions. The disadvantages include that it gives the initiative to the enemy, allows the Russians control of the coveted gun carriage factory, and is vulnerable to a flanking tank attack through the breach in the wall to the southeast. The second option for the Germans is a forward defence. The panzers would start at the crossroads and then advance to a support by fire position, dominating the approaches to the factory. The anti-tank guns would be in the south, covering the gap in the wall, and the infantry and half-tracks would be in the factory, ready to meet any Russian infantry attack with a wall of fire. While this option sees German forces divided into 3 efforts, it denies the factory to the Russians, protects the southern flank, and allows the panzers to seize the initiative and counterattack. Counterattacks. The Germans placed the greatest stress on immediate and violent counterattacks as effective means of destroying the attacking enemy. It was with great relief that the Kampfgruppe captured the Red Barricades factory from the defending Soviets. The factory had been largely ruined by air and artillery strikes. Now in German hands, the Soviets cannot use it as a tank factory. Intelligence reports the Soviet 8th Guards Rifle Division is preparing to retake the factory. Headquarters has ordered the Kampfgruppe to defend the factory, then hand over to an incoming infantry unit. Von McDowell will be happy not to lose any more soldiers to the Stalingrad meat grinder. I've now moved my troops into position and will execute the plan in real time. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the various courses of action and if you've identified a viable alternative. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more great strategy and tactics content. And so we begin. The panzers occupy the crossroads up from Konov's house. The infantry are firm in ambush positions in the gun carriage shop. The anti-tank guns are covering the southern flank and offset as protection against mortar fire. No sign of Russians to the southeast, or around the storage shed. No sign around the workers' apartments either, or in the workers' settlement in the suburbs of Stalingrad to the east. Nock's Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier start a clearing patrol of the east of the factory, to make sure there are no Russians lurking within. The Panzers now move up to their support by fire position. From here, they will dominate the Y junction, the bridge, and the approaches to the factory.
Stellung eingenommen. Stellungswechsel ausgeführt. Truppe umgruppiert.
Achtung, Panzer! A T-34. Von McDowell has the shot and damages the T-34. The other two tanks do not have line of fire. Feuchtinger frantically reloads. The Panzer is hit, but the T-34 is immobilized. Zeltmann's Panzer IV-F moves up in support.
Stellung eingenommen.
Almost.
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt.
Anti-tank attack. A Molotov cocktail thrown at Zeltmann. Rain also fires into the building. The German mortar opens a fire mission. Another hit on the T-34. And on McDowell. Nock's squad in the factory patrols south. Zeltman now has line of sight. The T-34 is destroyed. The tank burns and the crew bail out, seeking refuge in a nearby building. The Panzers renew their advance. Attention shifts to rifle infantry in the adjacent building. 3 tanks and a mortar.
Насильно отстреливают!
Cannons and machine gun fire end the threat.
Противник предложил прекращение огня!
The Panzers cautiously advance to dominate the cross streets.
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt.
Nock's squad continues south. The T-34 brews up.
Противник предложил прекращение огня!
Stellung eingenommen.
Rain's Panzer 4D moves between the factory and the workers' apartments.
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt.
Ложись!
Russian infantry in the ruined building to the southeast outside the factory entrance. And more Russian infantry crawling between buildings.
Находимся под огнем!
The German mortar prepares to drop some rounds. While rain pounds the building with cannon and machine gun fire.
Противник предложил прекращение огня.
Von McDowell moves his panzer forward.
Gruppe umgruppiert.
Achtung, Panzer! A Su-76 light assault gun.
Stellung eingenommen.
Как может!
Hit and destroyed.
Находимся под огнем!
Мы пропали!
Keine klare Schusslinie.
The Su-76 had no chance against von McDowell's 7.5cm main gun.
Нас засекли!
Von McDowell advances down the street through a smokescreen. Knock's squad has completed their clearance and now moves outside the factory.
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt.
Противник предложил прекращение огня.
Rain puts covering fire on the building while Knock's squad advances through the factory gate.
Кровь!
Von McDowell advances. Anti-tank attack.
А!
Мы сдаемся!
The recon infantry surrender. Enemy spotted. In the wooden building.
Противник предложил прекращение огня.
Rain pushes forward to cover the infantry advance. No sign of Russians to the south. Nock now orders his squad to advance to take the two-story workers' apartments building.
Stellung eingenommen.
This concrete building will provide cover as well as good observation over the surrounding area.
Противник предложил прекращение огня.
Truppe umgruppiert.
The Russians offer a truce, but there are no takers. Von McDowell wants a decisive victory with no imminent threat of counterattack. Then he can hand the sector over to an infantry unit and extract his Kampfgruppe from the Stalingrad meat grinder. Until now, the German infantry have remained concealed in the gun factory. Now they surge forward to occupy the buildings to the east. Zeltsman provides covering fire onto the second story of the workers' apartment building, just in case.
Stellung eingenommen.
Противник предложил прекращение огня.
Nock's squad enters the building and finds it empty. Zeltman now advances. Russian infantry crossing the ravine. Knock squad eliminates a 2-person anti-tank infantry squad.
Противник предложил прекращение огня.
Gebiet gesichert. Stellung eingenommen. Ziel neutralisiert.
The Russian command team in the ravine has been eliminated.
Truppe umgruppiert.
Gleeser's squad now advances in the south, through the gap in the wall.
Stellung eingenommen.
Schellenberg supports in the half-track. Zeltmann continues to probe forward.
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt. Truppe umgruppiert.
The German machine gun squads now move up.
Stellung eingenommen.
And the platoon commander.
Противник предложил прекращение огня.
Russian infantry in the ravine.
Truppe umgruppiert.
Не высовывайся!
The Russians have taken a defensive approach to the attack. At this stage, the Germans are manoeuvring to provoke Russian reactions, and thus force a decision.
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt. Gebiet gesichert.
Противник
Neutralisiert.
предложил прекращение огня.
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt.
Воздух!
More Russian infantry near the three-story building.
Находимся под
Мы
огнем!
попали!
Спасите меня!
Stellung eingenommen.
А!
Achtung, Panzer!
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt.
Schellenberg hurriedly reverses his half-track. T-34 Flame.
Противник предложил прекращение огня!
The German mortar prepares to lay smoke.
Stellung eingenommen.
Major victory. The battle ended because the Russians fled the battlefield. The Germans gained control of the area and the operation is over. The operation ended because the Russians routed. You, Herr von McDowell, gained 2 campaign points. Your group commander urges you on to more and greater victories. The Germans did not suffer any losses in men or materiel. Russian losses were 19 killed, 8 wounded, 2 prisoners and 2 tanks destroyed. Overall, the campaign remains a total victory, although much fighting remains. German losses have been 16 killed, 23 wounded, 1 prisoner, 3 tanks destroyed and 3 tanks damaged. Russian losses have been 146 killed, 115 wounded, 55 prisoners, 25 tanks destroyed, 7 tanks captured, 2 guns destroyed and 1 gun captured. Let's examine the Kampfgruppe. Oberpanzerschütze Feuchtinger is awarded the Iron Cross Second Class, and Oberpanzerschütze Bayerlein is awarded the War Merit Badge. Well done, both of them. No other medals. Both Feuchtinger and Bayerlein are credited with 1 tank kill each. And a fair amount of bravery on display, as well as some infantry kills. Increases in morale, leadership and experience in the Kampfgruppe. and a mix of old hands and new. So, what did we learn? This battle teaches us the value of the counterattack when in defence. Immediate and violent counterattacks were the preferred German defensive tactic. Admittedly, the Russian attack was fairly half-hearted. Their infantry and tank forces did not act in concert but in isolation from each other. And there did not seem to be any Russian mortars or artillery. Nonetheless, the Germans swiftly counterattacked. First, with the tanks forming a support by fire position controlling the approaches to the factory. Then, the clearing patrol securing the position inside the factory. And finally, with the infantry taking up forward positions outside the factory walls. The counterattack allowed the Germans to defeat the Russian attack, destroy 2 tanks, and occupy the area in front of the objective, all without losses in men or materiel. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and donate, and stay tuned for the next episode.